Very fine.
Okay.
Nearly finished building my house.
Oh.
I have had people here since the 1st of November.
Oh, okay.
So I think 2 or 3 weeks they will disappear. 2 or 3 weeks, yeah, 2 or 3 weeks they will disappear from here.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Okay.
there will be a little bit more calm.
Okay.
Because a lot of people going around making everything. So I think it soon will be ended.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Okay.
Good morning, Philippa.
Good morning.
Morning.
Did we get Kenneth inside?
Yeah.
Try again.
Morning, Henry.
Good morning,
Hello.
Kenneth.
Good morning.
Morning.
Oh, you're in your professor outfit, Kenneth.
Yeah.
I'm going to be an opponent in Finland.
I see.
So it's very formal. So we have to wear a black suit and a black tie. And,
Yeah.
Oh.
I had to go out
Oh.
and buy a black tie yesterday. So
So is it a defending of a dissertation? Well, if you have all black suits and things, it looks like a funeral.
yeah.
One need to be accustomed to that. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to borrow a doctoral hat because I don't have one. We don't get that in Denmark. So.
Okay.
But for the same reason, I have to go after 15 minutes because I kind of forgot to count on the time difference. It's 9:45 here in Finland. So,
okay.
yeah. So, and I've kind of forgot that. So they picked me up at 10 past 10 outside of the hotel.
Good.
Yeah. But you have time for the coffee, at least.
I had my coffee. So.
You had your coffee already.
Yeah.
So it's 8:45, and I think we can start now. Just yeah. I hope that I will be able to get that organized. I'm not very good at these kind of technical issues here. Just trying to find out how to share certain things.
It's possible that Charlotte needs to give you permission, or
Yeah, she already gave me permission.
Okay.
And so I can share my my desktop, but can you now see anything?
Yes.
No.
We are
What do you see now?
Your agenda. Now we are going there.
Are you seeing a presentation?
We did. Yeah.
We did. Okay.
We did now.
That is the problem, that we don't know exactly what I see. So I share my screen and you see a presentation, right?
Maybe if you choose the yes, now.
No, not that one. Okay.
Yes.
Now we see the presentation. Yeah.
But including all the.
Also, yeah, it's your presenter mode we are seeing.
On the presenter mode. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that is not the idea here. I need to change that here. Well, anyway, we'll do it like that. Don't worry about that. We are running out of time. So welcome everybody to today's coffee meeting. I'm very happy that you are here, and I hope you will be able to follow that presentation here. Well, when I was working on the presentation yesterday evening, I was very happy about that, and I thought it's a good thing to talk about champions, change drivers, pioneers, early adopters, and so on, to give you some insights into the typology of transformation processes. But tonight, actually, No, I don't have sleepless nights. Don't worry about that. It struck me like lightning. What am I doing here? I'm explaining pioneers, change drivers, and probably early adopters what they're actually doing. So probably you might identify, you might find yourself in this presentation here. And so that would be actually quite, from my perspective, quite a good thing if you could actually see whether you can find yourself in one of these roles. And well, if you do, it's fine. If you don't, well, we see. But what is for me more important is that you might get some insight into the into your actual work, into the organization of the hub you are working with, so that you will be able to improve the hub, to analyze the hub in itself. You might now say, oh well, we are doing that constantly, as there has been a lot of impact from Alistair, and there have been all these surveys, and part of the surveys are the self-reflection within the hub development and so on. And this presentation here shall give you some more insights into the, not really the theory. I don't like theories at 9 o'clock in the morning, but into the different roles people and organizations have, into the processes, the mechanisms in it. So that is the aim of the presentation here. You see the timetable that we will be working. First, we'll have a presentation, roughly about until a quarter after 9 o'clock. Then some questions and remarks, and then I would like to actually collect local examples from your experience or from others' experience. We'll do a summing up, and around 10 o'clock-ish we shall be finished with that. Are there any questions or remarks to that kind of agenda? No, obviously not.
No,
Okay.
I don't think so. Not to the agenda as such. I see people are slowly still coming. So
okay. So
yeah.
we should probably wait a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe wait another 5 minutes before you start your presentation.
Okay.
But
Okay.
we can talk about some of the things you just kind of suggest.
Because I can just see I cannot see what is going on in the Teams now. The sharing is not working properly, but probably we could do it on a different level with a different screen. Then I could actually see other things as well. Oh, there are more people here. Yeah, now I see that.
Yeah.
So, good morning, Alistair.
Hi. Hello, everyone.
Morning, Louise. Ikki is here as well.
Morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Søren and Ikki are here as well.
Okay.
Yeah. I saw Dorte tried to log on, but she disappeared again.
I think Adam is here instead.
I'm here. I think Dorte is quite busy today, so
Okay.
she won't be attending.
Okay. She just tried. Maybe she thought she had 2 minutes, but didn't.
And hello to our, oh, what a word, external guests. Sounds like if we were an administration here, but our friends, Philippa and Kenneth from Malmö. Welcome. Hi, how are you doing?
Thank you. Well, we're doing fine. So I'm not usually looking like this. It's because I have an opposition in Finland here, and they're going to pick me up in 15 minutes. So yeah.
I think it's totally okay to dress like that if you like to.
I apologize.
Stop apologizing for your, how would you say? the good looks. I apologize for the good looks.
Well, usually I have to run around like that from Mondays to Thursdays, but today is casual Friday.
But lucky. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll see. That it's always a possibility that our president is calling me. Can I have a talk with you? And a talk with our new president is always not online. It's always in presence in his office. Well, casual Friday. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
He also
Martin,
had-
sorry, I was going to bring the joke that ask Karl Martin if our new president is change driver or is he more of a first mover?
Okay. Yeah. So probably I
What
should
does your
invite him.
analysis
So he
say?
could identify himself, because I already said that when I finished the presentation yesterday evening, and tonight I got the impression that it might be so that I'm actually telling you what you are, and what an ambitious enterprise it would be to tell you what you are, because you all know what you are. But well, anyway, we'll see.
Perhaps I should say a little bit of Philippa and I and some of the other people, Tracy and Annette. We have had talks, and we also had a talk with Alistair and Arne before the summer breaks. We look forward to work. We have this idea of doing a book based on, or a short book based on the workshops that we did in the spring, and then of course also to continue. So even if we are external, so we are still happy to be invited to these sessions as well. So thank you very much for bringing us in.
Well, thank you.
I think you moved from being external to being hang-around. So.
We have a situation with Malmo.
Yeah.
That's fun. Yeah, you're welcome.
Oh yeah.
And in the formality of this defense that I'm going to be opponent to, there's also a tradition that they give the opponent a cognac when we start, or they offer the opponent a cognac. And
Finland.
then they told a story yesterday about, okay, there was one opponent, he wanted to have more cognacs, and at one point they had to say, no, you're not going to get.
I would take a second one before the questions begin.
So yeah.
And what university is it? Or
It's a University of Oulu. It's in the north, or actually in the middle of Finland, but quite north from Helsinki.
Well, Karl Martin, it seems we are not
growing
right now. So I think the floor is yours.
And Karl Martin, I will just go when I have to go. So okay.
Can you see the presentation now, or not?
Yes.
But
Okay.
it's not maximized. No, we see your
No,
PowerPoint.
if you maximize it, I have it in the presentation modus. That's my.
Oh, but we can change that. We can swap it. If you want, I'll give you the hint. It's somewhere down
Like that?
the bottom left. No, if you press on full screen, on share full screen, currently down the bottom right with this. No, we still see your normal PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Ganz oben links steht von Beginn an Play. Klick mal da drauf, auf diesem Symbol, unterhalb von Datei Start, von Beginn an. Oh, das ist ja lustig.
Ja.
Hast du 2 Bildschirme?
Na sicher.
Ah, dann teilt er wahrscheinlich auf dem anderen.
Ja. Den
okay.
anderen kriege ich irgendwie nicht rein.
Und wenn du auf unterhalb von Aufzeichnung, Hilfe, Acrobat, da steht die Bildschirmauswahl. Da kannst du vielleicht statt automatisch dem einen Bildschirm zuweisen.
Warte, ich gucke gerade.
Sorry.
Ah, okay. La 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 la. So.
Weiter rechts, ganz weit. Na, noch nicht von Beginn an. Genau auf dieser. Auf die.
Was seht ihr
Jetzt haben wir es. Jetzt ist richtig.
Jetzt ist richtig. Wunderbar. Okay, then start. I'm sorry
Yes.
about that. So welcome to this presentation. Here you see what we are going to do. I'm giving you some insights into champions, change drivers, pioneers, and early adopters. I will give you some information about the transformation processes. Well, it is something about the key actors in these kind of organizational changes. After this presentation, and I will be supported by Alistair, as some of the slides actually refer to this concept of transformation, territorial transformation capacity. Then we'll have some question and remarks. Then we collect some local examples, and I hope that we will be finished by 10 o'clock. So if we talk about the typology of transformation processes and of the actors within these kind of transformational processes, we will of course need to start with definitions and these kind of things. But what is going to be the objective of this talk here? It is to find out what are the roles of these different actors in these processes, and you'll always come up or find these kind of people or organizations mentioned, like champions, change drivers, pioneers, and early adopters. There is a multitude of other names as well, but for me, these are the key actors within transformation processes. The background of this is, of course, our project. It's all about sustainability, about and innovation, and resilience, building up resilience to transformational change. But I will, as I said, add on the concept of territorial transformation capacity, as that is very closely linked to the champions, change drivers, and so on. You might remember the presentation from Alistair, who introduced these concepts. So I will show you how these different kind of actors shape and influence transformation, and I will show you how this fits into the TTC concept. Well, what are transformation processes? You will be well aware with these kind of processes here, significant fundamental changes. And what is for me very important is that transformation processes is more than change. It is a multiplicity of different changes in society, in economy, in environment, politics, culture, whatever. So the understanding of transformation is that it is in itself a complex and difficult to understand process, as we have in very many of these transformation processes parallel and opposing objectives. Well, if you just look at the different kind of aspects or sectors, well, you might be able to understand that some ideas of the economy, of the actors in economy, might not be the same as the people in environment and so on. What is from a geographer's point of view, but also from the point of view of an organizational sociologist, very important is that we have different kinds of speeds. Some parts of the different institutions or even sectors might carry on at a very, very high speed in the transformation, whereas others are much slower. Just look at the digital transformation. The northern countries in Europe are far ahead of some other countries in the southeastern parts, for example, or in Germany. Then we have these kind of different speeds on a geographical matter. So here the spatial dimension is differently. Some are quicker than the others. Some are more complex than the others. Transformation processes have a broad variety of different thematic topics. So they are on these kind of dimensions, and what is in the center might be different as well. Lastly, to understand these kind of processes, the interrelations is very important. So in how far these effects have other effects on other processes and so on. To understand transformation processes, you need to have a basic understanding of a system, of a subsystem. You can differentiate these kind of systems into socio-technical, socio-ecological, and ecological systems. They are all again interlinked. And lastly, our understanding of transformation processes and our understanding of the world is what we call the VUCA world, so a world which is characterized by volatility, by uncertainty, by complexity and ambiguity. So that is a part of a theoretical, if you want to say, background of it. But in reality or in practice, you can say that transformation processes might be differentiated in those which are very disruptive. Only 20 to 30% if you look at the literature, whereas incremental transformation, so transformation processes which are gradual, which are going step by step, are the majority of these kind of organizational transformation processes. We can further differentiate the linear and the non-linear transformation processes. The linear are more predictable, more structured. Very often they have a well-defined objective, targets to reach, whereas a non-linear transformation processes might be very complex. They might be affected by emergent situations, well, like any diseases or wars or geopolitical influences and these kind of things, which made them very unpredictable. What are then the key issues in this kind of transformation processes? Of course, the internal factors, how is the organization structured, is there a leadership concept? We have, very sorry to say, but if you look at the literature, we have some idea, or not ideas, but some examples where the observation of, or the analysis of organizations lead to the very sad fact that there's no leadership in there. Then we have the external factors, market forces, societal trends, and regulations. It's not difficult to say what the barriers are. If you're not happy with it, then obviously it's very difficult. And here we are at one of the dimension of the later presentation. The enablers are important, though the leadership and the vision of it. The challenges, it is not difficult. The resistance to change, where people would like to carry on within their experienced practices. Another challenge is to keep on the momentum, so to to come from one step in the transformation process to the other, to the next, to the next. So many small changes are one after the other, which is actually, and you might have experienced that from your organizations, which is very hard to keep on, and which is putting a lot of pressure of the people there. And on the other hand, you have to balance innovation and stability. Of course, you need to be a functioning process, but a functional organization. But if you want to change that, if you want to change, you always have the risk that your running system is getting into trouble here. What are the key actors? The champions, the change drivers, the pioneers, and the early adopters. And I will now give you some insights into them and what are they actually doing and what is their role. We start with the champions. What are the champions actually doing? The champions are those people who create not so much the change in itself, but the momentum for change. So they have the visions, they have the energy, and they have the persistence to create an atmosphere where change is able, and to have within the organization or within the enterprise the position to set up a kind of mindset that we need to improve constantly, but also improvement is very often connected to transformation. So they are very important in the initial phase of change. And what is important here is that you don't need many champions within your institutions. A few people might influence many others in their special spirits. You might also must also mention that the social position is very often very important. It is not so much the position within the enterprise, although if you see the example here about a charismatic personality, Steve Jobs, we know he was CEO of Apple, so he was in a very high position as well, but he also had a very high social position within the enterprise. Everybody was looking up to him, to his inspiring talks and the ideas he actually had. The next group is the change drivers. These are the people who actively influence the direction of the change within an organization. So whereas a champion is actually bringing up the idea we need to change, they take in what direction to change. So they are committed very strongly to a change. They are a source of inspiration, but contrary, not contrary, but they are an addition to the champions. So the champions set the general idea or the general characteristics of an institution, of an enterprise to change, the change drivers, but they bring it in the right direction. So, but they are not in, so to say, it's difficult to understand that on the basis of strategic decisions and operational decisions. That is something different. But what we have here is more the those people who are actually able to identify where there's resistance, and those people who create the structures here. They're not very much into the content of the change. That is with other people here. The next group we have here is the pioneers. You will already have heard about them. They will test the new ideas and the technologies at the early stages. They are taking a lot of risks, of course. If you test new ideas, you are open to risk. They're open to experiments. But what is very important for these kind of transformation processes, they like the loops of refinement. So they like to give feedback. They like to have their ideas into the the further development of these kind of transformation processes. So if we talk about enterprises, very often they are startups or they are very small enterprises. So they're used to uncertain conditions, and they can actually use that within their sector or within their specific branch. So it is very, very unlikely that you have these kind of pioneers in large and public in large and public organizations. You might have them in public organizations if you are able to separate one transformation process within one very, very small part of your public organizations, but to change the whole public organizations, that is not the right place for pioneers here. And lastly, we have here the early adopters. The early adopters are early users of new innovations, but they are a little bit different from the pioneers, because the early adopters support the diffusion processes. So they have a high visibility in social media. As they test these kind of things. Very often they have this early adoption as a part of a business model, trying to well, especially if they use social media. They are opinion leaders, and quite contrary to the pioneers who have this kind of risk-taking. They might have experiences in failure. The early adopters have a little bit of less risk taking here, because their failure or the failure of these things, the new innovations which they support, might affect their business model. Well, if you just look at all these influences in social media, obviously it might not be a very good idea if you promote a product and then you have to find out that this product is actually not working. So you might have now an insight into the major typology of actors within transformation processes, and the challenge is now how to combine these kind of actors. Hopefully you have seen yourself, or you have examples of these people from your work or from your hub, and now there's some ideas about how to combine these kind of actors and processes. If we take that very, very strong differentiation, and probably not in the practical work, not good adaptable differentiation between disruptive changes and incremental changes, we can see that in a disruptive change, the champions initiate these kind of changes, and not the change drivers, but the champions initiate. Then the pioneers test and the early adopters follow. Whereas in the incremental change, where aims are defined and things like that, the change drivers lead. They have a very strong part in here. The champions guide the general way, and then we have the early adopters here. In this kind of incremental change, we do not very often find the pioneers, as the incremental change in itself is very often structured in a way that it is itself a system where you don't need these kind of pioneers. If you just look at organizations, very often changes in the digitalization of organizations, for example, is done, so to say, in the background. So there's there are no external visible pioneers in there. I hope that gave you an insight into transformation processes and into the different actors. Now we would like to try to put that into the setting of the territorial transformative capacity, and I would be very happy if Alistair would tell us a little bit about that. Is that okay with you, Alistair?
Yeah, of course.
Could you just tell me when I have to change the slides?
All right, I will do. Yeah, very interesting. In parallel, I was writing a little a mini story, practicing the storytelling approach, about how a conversation could happen between these four different actors when, for example, a community decides they want to they need a new community center, but whatever. I'll post it in a second. Very inspiring. Anyhow, the question is, how do or where is the fit? Where is the overlap between these actors involved in shaping transformative processes and, let's say, the guiding model that we're working on, which somehow tries to explain or give an overall view of how does a hub that pretends to drive innovation, drive sustainability towards a radically new territory, or with a radically new approach. And that is basically our model for transformative, territorial transformative capacities. I think you must have, or most of you have seen this Miro board before, and it just exemplifies how we have, let's say, analyzed literature and put a series of relevant activities, of relevant characteristics that are, let's say, relevant for the hubs, and organize them into a series of dimensions in a model. Those are these blue titles. Next slide, please, Karl Martin. You saw this arranged this way in France. It's exactly the same content, let's say, just a bit nicer. And in the next version, the next slide, I let's say noticed that we have, let's say, four main areas of play, four main areas of activity where the hub is, let's say, the hub has to become competent, capable in these areas to drive transformation. This is something that is in theory, and we're going to start a series of interviews with some of you in the hubs to make this even more adapted to the SIRR context. And when Karl Martin is talking about change drivers and early adopters, champions, etc., the question is, how does the hub manage them? How does the hub interact with them, apart from aren't already a series of people and the organization hub itself a pioneer or a champion, depending on what role it plays in different processes? And this is basically in the blue area, leadership and governance, where let's say that there's one dimension called inspire place-based leadership by example. So let's say the hub needs to become, if it pretends to be, let's say, a fundamental energy or a fundamental driving force in the territory, they have to develop a series of activities and relate to the leaders in the territory, the change makers, the change drivers, etc. So the dimension is inspire place-based leadership by example. And what is that exactly about? If you click one slide further, please.
Yeah, but let me just say one thing to it.
Yeah,
add
please.
one thing to it. What is interesting here is that if you look at innovation and impact on this slide, co-produce, manage, and reflect knowledge. And if we look at these traditional models, what I just explained about the champions, the early adopters, and so on, I actually don't know in how far the mentioning of co-production is here, or whether these kinds of people are seen working individually or segmented from, differentiated from the others. Whereas the idea of co-production, of management of knowledge, that should bring them close together to have a kind of interwoven relationship. And that, from my point of view, would be quite interesting to adopt within that kind of a model, and to look in the hubs, in how far this kind of interwoven relationship between the different people is actually there. But sorry to interrupt you. Here's the next
No, it's
slide.
one of the key points. The literature says quite clearly that the hubs, or whatever organizations intending to transform the territory, they need an interwoven relationship with these kind of, I'll call them leadership figures or change makers. And it's obvious that there is no real possibility to control these actors, but there is the intention to influence them, or to build a relationship with them where their resources, their ideas can be used by the hub, can be facilitated in order to combine them with the resources from other groups or leaders in the territory to do something positive and meaningful for the territory. So let's say there is in the literature a clear a clear demand, let's say, that hubs act intentionally, meaningfully with these leaders. And as of what we have been able to research in many of our SIRR hubs, this happens already partly. The question is, how elaborately does it happen? How is it more on the basis of chance? Is it more informal, more formal? And we are basically still trying to find out how to do it. No? Anyhow, a few more pointers on this aspect. As I said, in the model, we're talking about this dimension: inspire place-based leadership by example. And the key message is that the style of leadership that a hub has to develop is one that doesn't put the hub at all times at the center of the happening, of the discussion. It's more a facilitating role or an enabling role that will model collaborative leadership and cultivate support of others, of local change makers, to help them drive that transformation. There is relationships among the dimensions. It builds on the shared vision and identity dimension. If that is non-existing, it will be difficult to, let's say, engage change makers into a fruitful discussion and collaboration to go somewhere together. And it also builds on the stakeholder empowerment process and on the promotion of collaboration among the stakeholders. It is a dimension that will enable the hub to become a more protagonist figure, a more protagonist organization in the multi-level territorial governance landscape of its area of remit. Next slide, please. That goes back to Carl Martin.
Okay,
I think.
Thank you. Well, if we, or instead of a conclusion or summary of this talk, I would like just to mention 4 points here as a kind of, well, what to do, what to take home from the presentation. Well, first of all, I think it would be a very good idea to identify the role of people in the hub, to see what people are actually doing there. We are, of course, supporting that by our project in itself, but I think it would be a kind of key competence of every hub manager to be able to identify the people there from a strategic point of view. Obviously, if you be talking about transformation, you need to see the role of internal or external factors of change, which are here. You also need to differentiate the change process in the different kinds of sectors you have here. So if we are talking of these kind of innovation hubs, you need to know, to understand that in the different branches they are there in different fields of experience and so on, this kind of complexity, the speed, and the persistence, or the balance of persistence and change might differ. So it would be able to step back. The managers of these hubs need to step back a little bit and to get their idea about what is going on. But I need to analyze the whole system in order to understand the territorial transformative capacity, and in the next step to develop it. I'm quite certain that in our hubs these kind of transformative capacities there, but the task would be to develop it further on. So that is the key issues of the presentation. What I would like to do now is, well, to listen to you, to first of all get questions to it, remarks to it, but also to share some of the your experiences. So probably you can actually say something about these questions which are set up here, about the main innovations in your areas, and whether you have experience about these people there. Probably you could tell us some stories about how that works and so on, and would be interesting in how far you are able to support these kind of people there. So thanks a lot for your attention so far. I will keep that screen on so you can have a look at the different questions here, and yes, the floor is now yours for questions, for remarks, and for your experiences in these kind of fields. Thank you. I'm actually, I cannot see the actual presentation, so Alistair, could you probably be the moderator of a discussion if many people show up and would like to say something, please?
Yes, I only might have some problem from 10:15 onwards, because have some childcare issues here. But yeah, we can start it.
Okay, but after 10 minutes, I'll stop the sharing of my screen and we'll talk about it. So
yeah, I can also copy the questions and put them in the chat. Yeah, the floor is open. Does our presentation resonate with your experience, with your well-known champions, and feel free.
I can hear people thinking now.
In German, you say "rata, rata, rata." The brain is.
Oh yeah.
But Michael, you started already, so continue.
Oh.
Tell us something from Skagen.
Well, I think sometimes it would be a little difficult to kind of assess main innovations, big or small. I think there has been quite a lot. I think maybe when you think about transformation and maybe also these champions, I think Jens can agree that we do locally have quite a few champions, but some of them are producing ideas a little like a machine gun and just pushing them out there, and not all suggestions are necessarily positive for local change. And I think some of the challenges can be for a hub, how to pick those that you think are the right ones if you want to start a collaboration with local champions. As I think we mentioned many times, when traditionally at least, when change makers approach us, it's very often when they need funding. But in fact, what we then experience is, of course, they do very often need money, but not always. But what they need the most is actually to set up the necessary network with the other kind of actors. And I think that might be our main role in some of these processes, is to combine the right people. That's the first comments I can think of.
Yep.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, it's yeah, an interesting idea actually to what you said about the champions actually producing too many ideas which might not fit into the overall strategy of it. Is it that these champions are not aware of the strategy, or do they don't care as they are in the hub just to get money?
I don't think it's always only about money, but it's kind of their entrepreneurial culture that they have this idea that they just produce a lot of new ideas, maybe very rarely thinking about strategies, but more that this about something being a possibility might be something they need to test.
Okay, thank you. Any other ideas?
Louise.
Hi.
Hello.
Yeah, so I was thinking about and writing down some notes for champions on Lesso. And we have we have a few sort of major champions that have been champions for many years. And they're typically very charismatic idea makers that are very integrated in the society, perhaps long-time islanders or natives, so to speak, through generations. And people tend to listen to them a lot when they're driving change. And it's relatively easy for them to get support. But we also do have some that, I don't know if you can call them attempted champions, where they attempt to come up with a new idea for an innovation, but they are not necessarily well liked in the society. So they will, even though they continuously try to push for change, they don't receive support from the rest of the population. So they typically don't succeed with these ideas, even if they might possibly be good ideas in a society like Lesso, where reputation means a lot. Yeah, this type of situation can occur.
Thank you. And what would you see as elements of a kind of reputation? I mean, you mentioned the charismatic leaders or champions who obviously by their personality are able to be champions. But how what would be elements of a reputation within the society? Is this well, look from a sociology a point of rural areas? Is it the rooted the family being rooted in the community for at least 10 generations or something like that, or is reputation has reputation a different kind of aspect here?
It's both. Family has a lot to say. If there are some families or family feuds on Lesso, so if your great-grandfather did something to my great-grandfather, so no, I don't like you, and I don't like your children, I don't like your grandchildren. There are that sort of situation. But as a sort of a newcomer to the island, I'm not part of a generation that's been living here for many, many years, I've noticed that what makes a really big difference is whether you showcase that what you are doing and the ideas that you are presenting, are they for the good of the people, for everybody? Like, do you show a genuine concern and wish to do the society good? Or is this idea based on you and doing you good and earning money for just you? And that is, I think that's something that the people on Læsø have become very good at seeing and sensing. Is this just for you, or is it this for all of us? Because we live in a society with so few people, it's really, really important that what we do is for the good of everybody. So it's a mix of those two, I think, mainly.
Okay, thank you.
We have Jens in the pipeline.
I think I have to say that when I look 10 years back, I can see some of the people who were very innovative at that time and who had succeeded in their way of working. They are getting broader and broader in the area that they are working in. They are starting making storytelling, as Alistair tried to do now, and who I appreciate very much. But they are storytelling in their own way of working, actually. They have the respect because they have succeeded. That's the one part, the positive part. The negative part in our area right now is that they are getting fewer and fewer young people here, and more old people. And they old people, a lot of them, are looking back and said, "Oh, 10 years was so beautiful. Yeah, I want to go 10 years back." And that's a problem for our area right now. A lot of them are saying, "Stop, we won't, we will not have that. No music in the street, no, no, nothing in the street at all." So there's a double thing in this, as I see it. I sometimes use the Baltic Sea as an area in my brain, and I'm saying right now, and don't quote me for it. I'm working with the Baltic Sea is dying. It's only a question of time, because the nature cannot cope with what's happening down there. So what will happen if the Baltic Sea is dead? What will happen with Skagen, with Frederikshavn, with Læsø, with all the small and big cities around the Baltic Sea? If there's no fish, a little bit, we can work with some algae until that's entered too, but you cannot work in. What will happen then? Who are going to lift that very, very big problem when the nature is changing? And the nature is changing right now. We are only closing our eyes and telling stories about who are the guilty, and we'll see if we can find somebody we could say, "Oh, you have to do something." But the political system are not able of doing something. They're only working right now, talking about what to do. They are not doing anything. And nature don't care about talking. They care about action. So yeah, I think we'll go into some problems.
Definitely.
Soon.
Calling them problems is being nice. Absolute catastrophe. But
it's a little bit hint to you, because when you point out what will be the area, you don't have the nature.
I think the main challenge.
Yes, I think you should put it in and say we have to look at what's happening.
Definitely,
with the nature.
It's in the model, Jens. It's in the model. Don't worry.
Okay.
No, but it is a truth that let's say the way of the practices of leadership and how we in societies have found solutions and been able to collaborate, cooperate, etc. in the last few hundred of years has happened on the basis of growth, of economic growth, of possibility growth, of growth, and it's a total different discussion when you are in decline and you have to kind of make decisions about what is not going to happen, who is not going to benefit, etc. So it would be very beneficial to look at how do you proceed in that background. My contribution is more focused on what Louisa said, and the thought that I had as you were describing the Leso situation is that obviously we have to acknowledge that many of these leadership figures, people, are also somehow sometimes in a competing situation, or maybe don't like each other, or let's say the legitimacy of one sometimes depends on diminishing the legitimacy of another, and it is a bit of a power struggle in terms of happening at the same time, no? Which makes this management coordination role or activity that the hubs have to play quite demanding and quite difficult, doesn't it? Yeah, that was me, and now I want to give the floor to Stenberg.
Yeah, just a thought on the process before becoming a champion change. You need to establish the need for change. There need to be some kind of urgency. And speaking of our area, it's not the case. I think it is in Læsø that something needs to happen right now, and it's been like that since we had this big reform of the municipality. The feeling is that everybody else needs to change because what we do is good enough. So if you don't have that sense of urgency within the community, you can see it. You can be a champion of that change, but you won't find any fertile ground for it. Right now, that's our experience. That we genuinely feel that we can contribute to a meaningful change within our local community. But instead, we are faced with people who want to go back, who wants to do what already has been done and what they've done for generations. So yes, champions change, but that's establishments of the need for change need to come first, I think.
And I also think that our hubs are different. Some hubs are actually the municipality, but we are more like a civil the civil society movement in some way. So I have like the circle, and the middle is Stenvad Mosebro, and then there's another circle around, and that's the surroundings, and it's a culture, the local culture, it's a political environment, and so we want very much to be a place for champions, pioneers, but it's like there's not a big movement here saying that we all have to stick together to change this area. We see first movers around. Some of them are tilflyttere.
Yeah, newly arrivals.
Newly arrivals. And there's always this conflict between traditions and new ways of thinking. So if we look at our hub, I both think that we have facilities, but what is very important is also that we facilitate, that we support in some way, and of course the interaction is very important between us and all our stakeholders or as a all the people around us. But I think we have to make an environment where you can see the change. You can come and you can be supported in your way of working with others, perhaps with changes. So you're not alone on it. So you have a community on it, and then also the being visible on small successes, being visible on the goals, on the value it creates, how to do it. So we have a very important supporting role and facilitating role, and also an identity-making role in supporting champions or supporting change movements. I don't know if you understand what I mean. I hope so.
Well, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for this input here. I like this quote very much. Everybody else has to change. We are good enough. What does it mean? Is it something like a misled self-reflection, or is it an understanding of we cannot change, we will not change, or the others have to change?
Yeah,
you
it's
can
a bit.
elaborate a little bit on that, and probably others have made the same experience about the perspective to the others.
You need to understand that our municipality consists of 3 old municipalities with each with their distinct features. If you take the main city Grenaa, it was earlier was this industrial hub, mainly because of the sea was good. It was deep and there's a lot of current, so you could throw anything into it and it would just move away. But their self-identity is still that of an industrial hub, even though there's almost no industries left. So they need to change the mindset. Then you have the 2 rural communities that have merged into this new municipality, whose major something, I think it's true, that major driving force is opposition to the main city. So we need to get something from them in order to change. It's their fault that we are lagging behind because everything goes to Grenaa. So you have this storytelling almost of this old industrial hub that still believe it is an industrial hub, and the other 2 who constantly feel cheated and left out. And if you cling to those identities, change is rather difficult.
Well, just to put that in a context, if I look at our region here and at our hub here, well, Arne's not here, but I think he is going to agree on this as well. In our case, it's the other way around. Our hub here, the enterprises in the hub here, they would say, we are actually the champions. The other ones, they're not quick enough. We are changing very much. We have understand all the challenges. We are able to be part of that kind of transformation. We would like to shape the kind of transformation, but all the others, they are not able to keep up with our transformation speed, and so we have to influence the government and these kind of things. So this kind of situations, the insiders and the outsiders, and to me this quote sounds a little bit like blaming the others for being responsible and these kind of things. So that might be the other way around. Or is it only the case in here in Vechta? So, well, how is it in France, Guillaume? Could you? We can't hear you. Well, I can't hear you. I cannot hear you. Sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yes.
Ah, great. Hello, everybody. Yeah, I was thinking about kind of what we were talking about competitions between municipalities. We got the same here, of course, in France. Although municipalities in France have a lot of autonomy, but they had to merge between themselves to achieve an amount of people inhabitants. So we merged with the city of Fougères, where you were sleeping when you came to France, and we still have this kind of competition between municipalities, even though we merged together. Some people in Louvigny are saying exactly the same as Vincent. They say, everything goes to the big cities. That's one point, and the other point was talking about champions. I was thinking from the point of view of the municipality. We in Louvigny, we had the chance to have a champion among the elected officials, not the mayor, but someone in the elected official who really pushed forward for driving change for the last 15 years, I think. So it's the guy who was a very charismatic, very strong, a kind of, I would say, a lot of, maybe not a lot of, a little bit authoritarian. Yeah, you see what I mean? Yeah. That was a mix of charisma, authoritarianism, and so he pushed a lot of projects during the last 15 years. And we had the mayor who was eager to listen to him and push his project. Okay, and there is another part of the story is that this champion is now getting older, and he has a disease, a neurological disease. So, and what I'm witnessing now is this 15 years, 10 years of being a champion. He has made some people very jealous, and there is some people who didn't say anything when he was pushing project and make the municipality go forward. And now that he's getting older and a little weak, the kind of I don't know how to say that in English, but stepping on him, just like pushing him away. And so, okay, that's what I'm witnessing right now. You can be a champion for really people listen to you. You are really great for your community. And but once you get a little weaker, people just will step on you. It's kind of a jungle, I mean, that's what I'm witnessing right now. It's kind of sad, I would say. Yeah. So when you are a champion, when you are a champion, you need to stay a champion or step aside. Yeah, that's that's just a story of Louvigny. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for sharing that that story, because when you mentioned about this champion, that he was very charismatic, that fits very good into the definition of champions there.
Yeah.
But you also said that he was a kind of authoritarian.
Yeah.
So was it authoritarian in the way of how to do things, or to tell people what to do? You do this, or was it authoritarian in the way of that he actually had the power to make these kind of changes, and so he had the means, the political or the financial or whatever means to do these kind of changes?
He had the power because he was elected, but he didn't have the power to make all his project go through because it has to be voted in the assembly. But I think how do I say that? But it's an authoritarianism, which is kind of part of his charisma. When he didn't have to. He didn't make people think like him, but just the idea was great. He was talking very simply, and so people would say, "Okay, yeah, that's we'll follow him because a leader, it's a champion and a leader too." Okay, that's yeah, but he did not impose project because the project had to be voted. So that's yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. What I found really interesting, you mentioned that it is a jungle.
Yeah.
Within the and I'm quite sure that we all know that a part of communal politics is like a jungle here. But when you talked about the the individual story of the champion, it came to my mind that obviously what is written in the literature there is an analytic part of it, sometimes very normative, very optimistic there. But I just got the impression that we are all talking about these kind of things, but the question is in how far this is a self-reproducing system. Whether after the decline of a champion, a next champion is coming up. Whether this is a natural thing or not. I mean, if you look at animal, and especially of any reptiles, societies and so on, lions, and you see that it's always the case that a new champion is coming up. But it would be interesting to see, and I might have a look in literature here whether it's mentioned at any point, whether this is an automatic self-reproducing system, or whether there could be that no champion anymore, no innovation, no adaptive capacity within the transformation process, decline of the society here.
Yeah, good point.
Well, it is almost 10 o'clock. I would like to thank you very much for your first for your attention to the presentation, but also to your very important insights into your situation. Of course, we could carry on as we can always carry on with these kind of discussions, but obviously there's always this time slot here. Thank you very much. We will carry on with this kind of coffee talk, and Michael is going to say something as well.
Yeah, just first of all, a thank you to you, Carl Martin, and also to Alistair, of course, who had to leave. But I just saw, and maybe you can confirm that too, Carl Martin, that the first scientific article from the project is now out. Is that true?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So
perfect.
We're very happy about that, and I think at some point we need to share that on the web pages and internally as well. So yeah. Well, so thank you very much. I wish you all a nice weekend. It's always hours ahead, not days, but hours on a Friday. And thanks a lot, and hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Very interesting.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.